Good morning. Welcome to Leon County Today with Sheriff Walt McNeil. I'm Sean DeKnight. Sheriff, we have got an interesting topic today. I think this is one we talk about each year, but very much warranted. We're headed into spring break season. Lots of families are looking to vacation. All of our teenagers are heading to the beach, but we've got a strong message this morning.
Absolutely, Shonda. The fact that we have so many accidents and driving issues in our community, I think I get more calls from various neighborhoods about people driving either in roundabouts that don't know how to navigate those or running stop signs. But obviously when spring break comes around, we've got our young kids out there driving, and every year I am just appalled at the number of lives that we could save if we would just simply not drink and drive. And I tell you, I'm hopeful that we will continue to pound this message out in our community, trying to make sure that we get compliance with the rules of the road, but just stop the drinking. I'm not sure how we get there, but we're going to learn a little bit more today, and our guest is going to talk about some of the things that they're doing to get to the families and to our young people.
Yeah, and we've got Mothers Against Drunk Driving with us today, and part of their messaging is there are alternatives. You don't have to get behind the wheel, and especially in today's time, it's just a matter of planning and being responsible.
Yeah, I feel for the families. I feel for the law enforcement officer who responds to those scenes, horrific scenes we've seen across this community, where kids are thrown from vehicles, and we go and check the vehicles, and it's got remnants of either drugs or alcohol in the car, and it's just a tragedy all the way around. And we're hoping that this year we can get out front of this issue, educate our community about what's going on, and save some lives here in Leon County.
Yeah, that's what it's all about for sure. All right, well, be sure to stick around, everybody. Coming up, we are talking with Mothers Against Drunk Driving with an important message, and it's not just about alcohol. But first, let's check in with Sergeant McMillan with our Crime Tip Tuesday.
Hello everyone, this is Sergeant Shade McMillan with the Leon County Sheriff's Office, and here's today's Crime Tip Tuesday. Garages can provide easy access to the interior of a home for a possible burglar. Here are some tips on how to better secure your garage against someone breaking in. Make sure interior garage doors are securely shut flush with the floor, leaving no space to be pried open. Lock any doors connecting the garage to the house. Keep an automatic garage door opener in a secure location. Never leave it in an unlocked vehicle or when the car is being serviced. While on vacation, unplug the automatic garage door opener and padlock the track. Keep your home safe.
Joining me now is Claudia Machado from Mothers Against Drunk Driving, our MAD. Claudia, it's spring break season, and that's a peak season for DUI cases. Let's talk about the different kinds of driving under the influence.
Well, thank you so much for inviting us once again here.
You're welcome.
And we always, when we talk about impaired driving, we think it's all alcohol. But there's many ways that you can be impaired. It can be alcohol, it can be marijuana, it can be prescription drugs. And in marijuana, even if you have a medical license to consume marijuana, it's still illegal to drive impaired. So there's many ways to be impaired. There's a great campaign that said, if you feel different, you're going to drive different.
Yeah.
So just because driving under the influence of alcohol may feel different than driving the influence with marijuana, it's still, you should not be driving, period.
Well, how prevalent is driving while drugged out in our community?
We see more and more, especially the young generation, hears that impaired driving, drinking and driving is bad. They know how to take an Uber, they know how to take a Lyft, but it's becoming more normal thinking that it's okay to drive high because it's more accessible now. They feel different. They don't feel like, they think they're in control. And we all know that marijuana affects your brain, affects it differently than alcohol, but it impairs you.
Are there other differences that they experience while under drugs as opposed to alcohol?
Well, for example, you can probably spot a drunk driver if you're driving. They're probably, they're driving fast or they're lane weaving, but when you're high, your reactions are slower. So the brain will see, let's say, the red light, but by the time that you're able to try to stop, you're already on the other side. So again, with marijuana, your reactions are slower and you're impaired.
Okay. Now, many times we talk about driving while under the influence. but are there other activities that we should avoid as well as we're driving?
Correct. So we actually have partnered up with Oratory, Florida for many years now, where you should not be driving, you should not be walking or riding bicycles impaired. We have a campaign statewide that says never walk, ride, or drive impaired, because we're seeing more and more crashes and death of either pedestrians or cyclists that they were either under the influence or they were hit by an impaired driver. We actually have in May a challenge that's called Ride Like Mad, where we are asking people to join this challenge, ride 100 miles in defense of supporting that you should never drive, walk, or ride impaired.
Now, Claudia, are we still utilizing any kind of tools? I know at one point we were using the goggles to with the kids so that they could see what it's like to be impaired in some respects. Are there tools out there that you're utilizing, or what advice will you give parents?
We still have those tools, but we're always telling the parent to have that conversation, start early. And when I talk to the teens, we do wristbands. You're the first person in Leon County to get this wristband about never drive drugged. But also we talk to the teens that if you're in a situation when you feel that you're not okay, you were under the influence, to call someone. Have a plan before going out. You guys are going to the beach now, there's going to be parties. Don't make that decision of, am I okay to drive? When you're there, have that plan before you go out, and that's the best tool ever, having a plan to get home safely.
What does the statistics tell us about drunk driving here in the Leon County area? What can we expect if we don't? What number of persons usually die each year from being impaired driving?
Well, in Leon County, I don't have those statistics for 2021, but every 52 minutes in the United States, somebody dies due to a impaired driver, and that's alcohol. We still haven't added the statistic of drug driving. So by the time an hour passes by, one person is going to die because of a choice that it's 100% preventable.
Well, Claudia, great information. Thank you. It's great to have you back on our show, and the fact that you're out there saving lives and educating our young people in our community. I can't say enough about MAD. MAD is one of my favorite organizations to help law enforcement in this community. Coming up next, Claudia tells us important conversations parents should have with their kids. Stay tuned. We're back with Claudia Machado from Mothers Against Drunk Driving, or MAD. We've been talking about the dangers of driving under the influence. Claudia, with spring break approaching, what conversations should parents have with their teens?
We need to have those conversations right before they go on spring break, and continuous conversations. This is not a one-time we sit down and we say, you're not supposed to do this, X, Y, and Z. This is something that in the dinner table, maybe on the drive to school, saying, hey, these are the consequences of underage drinking. But if you're in a situation where you took a drink or experimented with something else, how are you going to get home safely? And especially in spring break that a lot of kids go to the beach, there's a lot of boating too. There's something called BUI, which is boating under the influence. And it's the same, it's the same charge. And there's a lot of, especially in spring break, there's a lot of boating accidents where they think, and crashes when they think that they're okay to drive a boat, but they're impaired. So those conversations have to happen often, and you have to level with your child, with your teen, and hear them out and see what they say. MAD has great resources at www.mat.org or on our Facebook page, MAD Northwest Florida, where we give tips to parents and students how to have those conversations.
Okay. Now, I do see a lot of it. I go down to the coast every once in a while. I see those boats going out, and I see those kegs on them, and I know that they're up to something they shouldn't be. But what other resources are available to parents and or the young persons out there if they're under the influence? What other tools are available?
Well, first of all, they can always reach to us. The best way to contact us is through our Facebook page, MAD Northwest Florida, and I do prevention. I'm able to talk to a company, to talk to a group of teens, and have those conversations. And I have a job because people are dying and making a choice of impaired driving or boating under the influence. So we have resources such as pamphlets, conversations. So we sometimes pair victims of impaired driving with somebody that wants to talk to them. So we have plenty of resources and opportunities for parents to be educated. We're in 2022. There's no excuse to not learn about this.
You're absolutely right. Now, there's an initiative I've heard of called Take a Stand. Explain, what is Take a Stand?
So Take a Stand, it is our choice to drive safe. And it's a choice to go from point A to point B safe. And it's take a stand for everybody. Take a stand, not drive impaired, not drive drugs. If you're under 21, not drink. You have to be 21 in order to drink. And to take a stand as a parent to make sure your kids are safe and your community is safe.
Now, Claudia, you spoke to me earlier about you're gearing up for Ride Like Mad Florida. What exactly is that? That's a challenge, right?
Yes, so actually that's my baby. I'm in charge of that. So Ride Like Mad is a statewide indoor and outdoor challenge. And so if you have a Peloton like me, I have a 2-year-old, so you cannot ride outside, you're able to complete either 52 miles or 100 miles through the whole month of May. For a cyclist, you can do that in a day. For me, it may take a little while, but it takes a whole month to complete that challenge if you want to, and it's you're pledging to be safe and never drive impaired. Once you complete that challenge, we are able to send you a Drive Fit t-shirt or even a license plate if you complete 100 miles. And just another way to involve the community. You can do it anywhere in the state. You can do it in a group of cycling group, or you can do it individually or as a family. It's a great way another way to support. And the awesome thing about this, because I do prevention, all the benefit, all the proceeds we get are going to go back to the community for prevention efforts for teens.
Wow, that is fantastic. How can we share with our viewers, how can they learn more from MAD?
Yes, so if you want to join the challenge, you can do www.walklikemad.org/Florida Ride or on our Facebook pages. And the best way to contact us, like I said, it's going through our Facebook page. Local is MAD Northwest Florida.
Well, Claudia, thank you for all the great work you do in our community and across our state now with the challenge you've got going. So thank you so very much. Up next, exactly what do they do? We go behind the scenes of our Community Relations Department. That's in our Deputy on Duty segment. Stay tuned.
The sheriff has seen the value in community outreach. So our unit just kind of, shows the public another side that they wouldn't normally see. A lot of people think that, officers just show up, maybe make an arrest or maybe pull people over. But that's just a little bit of what we do. We also have another side to us that does a lot of charity and benefit for people. I've been fortunate enough to build bunk beds, be a part of Farm Share, be a part of a lot of outreach on this side. We go out there and we show that, hey, the sheriff is very much supportive of the community. And, we are a visible component of that. So just giving the opportunity to interact with people and let people know that, hey, we support a common cause, and that's our community. It kind of changes people's perceptions because they see us out there. They see us doing things for community. We have Patrol Stroll that helps Cancer Society, and nobody told us to do that, but this year unit spearheaded that cause. We raise $15,000 to $20,000 a year every time we put it on, and we give that money to the charity. And that shows that we aren't just talk; we are putting the action to it. So I really love telling people the good things that we do with this agency because they do have sometimes a negative perception. So sometimes, yes, we do have to arrest people, but we also have the opportunity to lift them up as well. And that's the one thing that I enjoy. And hopefully, as I said, we are changing people's perceptions. But another way you can do it kind of behind the scenes is making contact with various groups. And we just bring information. There are immediate concerns that you need to be aware of, like, lock your vehicles. Make sure that you keep your lights on. Make sure you don't let mail or newspapers collect at your door. Just various tips that you hope that they will embrace. Hopefully that will prevent a crime occurring in the future. So that's kind of like what we do. And I really love how the sheriff has embraced this kind of community relationship. You know, a famous quote by Sir Robert Peel, you know, the public are the police and the police are the public. Just kind of like describes, you know, his vision of the community. I had an opportunity, which I wouldn't have had in uniform patrol, to be a part of a conversation with activists, community activists, and law enforcement. It was a chance for us in law enforcement to kind of hear grievances that the community activists had. And then on the other side, they had to hear what it was like for law enforcement having to interact with the community. Our role isn't to be adversarial with the community, but to embrace it. Because in the end, we are trying to work together. And if I'm doing something that you don't understand why, let's have a conversation. Let's come to some understanding. This is the reason why we're doing it. And not let those kind of like negative perceptions influence people's decision making and mistrust and all like that. So, you know, that's one thing that I really think is very important. There is real tangible value. You know, a lot of the stuff that we do for, you know, kids, seniors, adults, people in the community. And I know, and I can tell you on a personal level, we are impacting lives. Just continually putting that message out there, like, hey, we're here, we are providing a service. Just kind of like really opened my eyes to, you know, what we do here. So that's the goal and the long-term goal that the sheriff has for his agency. And you can tell by the various units and projects that are going forward. So, you know, I'm excited to kind of see, you know, where it goes, because you're only limited to your imagination and creativity. You know, you see that there's a need there. Okay, well, how can we meet that need? So it's awesome to be part of that process.
Welcome back to Leon County Today with Sheriff Walt McNeil. Sheriff, another great show, and I just got to say, this is a cause near and dear to my heart, learning more about the Community Relations Unit at the Sheriff's Office.
Well, obviously, our Community Relations Unit does an outstanding job. I often, myself, I pass by their office almost every day and see the things they're involved in, and they're in the community, they're doing videos, they're with the deputies, they're in corrections, out there doing a job fair. There's nothing in the Sheriff's Office that the Community Relations Unit does not touch. Mm-hmm. And I have to give you a lot of credit too, because you're the leader behind all of that. So thank you and your team for what you do.
Yeah, they do really, really great work out in the community and really making those connections that are so important for our folks out there. And then going back to Mothers Against Drunk Driving, such great information there. One thing Claudia said to me really stuck out. She said, if you feel different, you're going to drive different. So be it drugs, alcohol, that is such a great thing to keep in mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Matt has been such a pillar in our community for so long, and do a tremendous job of trying to keep our kids safe. We've just got to get the parents and the children more engaged and understanding. So many lives we could save each and every year if we just follow those tips that Mad gives us, and that Claudia shared with us on this show today. Citizens out there, if you're listening to this show, spring break's coming up, and it's now the time for us to do everything we can to protect our kids out there from drunk driving or impaired driving. And you have the key to it, so let's be all in.
I think that's a great way to close it out today, Sheriff.
Well, thank you.
All in indeed. We want to thank you all for joining us for another episode of Leon County Today. We'll see you back here next week.